What makes Batman a tragic character? When I ask that, a lot of you probably think of his parents' death, and yeah, that's like the textbook definition of a tragic backstory. But to me, the truly depressing part of Batman goes a lot further than that. Today we're going to take a look at Batman Mask of the Phantasm and why this scene and the build-up to this scene illustrates the true tragedy of Batman. So what do I mean by true tragedy of Batman? Well, that's honestly pretty simple. Being Batman sucks. Look at any version of Batman in his early career. This man is not happy. Look at this shot. The rain is literally crying for him. Being Batman is torture. Every night he endures countless physical injuries. He barely sleeps and spends his waking hours just thinking about whatever case he's working on. He's terrified of letting anyone get close to him in fear that they might get hurt, that he will have to go through the pain of losing a loved one again. But this is all his choice, right? He wants to do this, doesn't he? Well, no.
I don't want to let you down, honest, but it just doesn't hurt so bad anymore.
Bruce does not want to be Batman. He thinks he has to be Batman. His mind was so broken by that night as a boy that he thinks his parents want him to avenge them. He thinks his parents would want him to subject himself to lonely and torturous nights again and again and again. That's the tragic part of Batman, because they wouldn't. They would be horrified to see their son going through this. Of course, Batman is a force for good for the city, but the Waynes cared 10 times more about their son than their city. So how does Mask of the Phantasm tackle this tragedy? It actually introduces a new component to the story, which is one of my favorite original additions to the Batman mythos that a movie has ever done. Mask of the Phantasm asks a question. What if Bruce was almost saved? What if he found someone who made him question his mission, his promise? Bruce meets Andrea Beaumont in the cemetery. Both are talking to the graves of their parents. Right off the bat, a connection sparks. Bruce can see a bit of himself in her and it immediately pulls him in. He isn't Batman yet, but he will be very soon. So obviously they fall in love, but Bruce hasn't thrown away his other life. He still thinks he can have it both ways. This is perfectly shown to us when Bruce and Andrea go to the World's Fair. It is
a dream of the future.
It is a literal representation of the bright future ahead of both of them, if they stick together. But after this perfect day spent in an idealized future, Bruce chooses to go fight crime when it pops up. He's trying to live both lives, but it doesn't work. He gets hurt and Andrea gets worried. This is where Bruce realizes
it's gotta be one or the other. I can't have it both ways.
Bruce understands the pain of losing someone. He knows he could never risk putting Andrea through that, so he begs his parents to let him let go.
It doesn't mean I don't care anymore. I don't want to let you down, honest, but it just doesn't hurt so bad anymore. It's different now. Please, I need it to be different now. I know I made a promise, but I didn't see this coming. I didn't count on being happy.
If this video was about the second greatest Batman scene of all time, this would be the one we're talking about. The truth is, he isn't really pleading with his parents. He's pleading with himself. The gravestone doesn't say Thomas and Martha, it just says Wayne. This conflict is entirely internal. If his parents could hear him, they would be the ones begging him to let go. But Bruce doesn't understand. This is his first time he's ever been happy enough to actually stop and think about his promise.
Tell me that it's okay.
Maybe they already have.
But Andrea steps in and she finally makes him see the truth, and Bruce lets go. He physically turns away from the grave and embraces his new future. I personally believe with absolute certainty that Bruce was fully willing to leave his mission behind forever to be with Andrea. However, I also believe that a lot of this movie is up to personal interpretation, so I would love to hear what you guys think about this. Is becoming Batman inevitable? Is it his destiny? Or could Andrea have actually saved him? I'll tell you why I believe it's the latter, and that Andrea actually could have saved him from becoming Batman. So Bruce has now left his old life behind and he proposes to Andrea, but the proposal is interrupted by a stream of bats. The common interpretation of the scene is that the bats represent the fact that Bruce cannot escape his life as Batman, that it is inevitable, and I definitely think this is a valid interpretation, but I'd like to raise a different one. I think it is Andrea who cannot escape her future as, spoilers, the Phantasm. Becoming the Phantasm is unavoidable for her. It's out of her control at this point. Bruce made a choice. He avoided Batman. He left that path behind of his own decision. But Andrea is about to be thrust onto a similar path just because of her father's actions. There's a reason why Batman and the Phantasm are so similar in this movie, and why the movie keeps telling us that people are getting them confused. It's because deep down they are the same. These bats are just as much foreshadowing the Phantasm as they are foreshadowing Batman. What I'm trying to get at here is that it is Andrea's inevitable future that splits them apart, not Bruce's. Andrea's fate comes to pass. She's forced to flee the country with her father to avoid the dangerous criminals he got involved with, where she will eventually lose him and become the Phantasm, and Bruce is now left without his guiding force. So of course he falls back onto his promise, the last thing he has left. And now we come to the scene, the greatest Batman scene of all time, in my opinion. First, we see a portrait of the Waynes smiling. But why are they smiling? Don't they want Bruce to be happy? Well, pay attention to the transition. It fades into the Batcave. Think of a common expression with smiling and fading. They were smiling, but the smile is fading as we descend into the Batcave with Bruce. The movie tricks us. It tricks us because the story is from Bruce's perspective. If he watched this scene, he would think they're smiling because he is back on the path to Batman, to vengeance, because that's what he thinks they want. But if he just stopped to think for a second, he would see that it's entirely the opposite. That their smile is fading as he leaves his path with Andrea. Okay, I'm willing to acknowledge that this whole smile fade thing is a little bit of a reach. Just a little bit of a reach. But sometimes when you reach, you grab the truth. You know what I'm saying? And now here we are, the Batcave, and Bruce is almost suited up. The first thing that jumps out of you is that the music is not heroic. It doesn't feel triumphant, it doesn't get you hyped up. It actually just feels really sad and haunting. We're not watching the birth of a hero, we're watching the death of a man. As Alfred approaches with the mask, Bruce's hand shakes slightly. This moment carries so much weight. All the hope for Bruce to have a better life, all the love he has gained, all the happiness, all the chance of a brighter future, all of it has been ripped from him. There's nothing left to do but become the Batman. He puts it on and he turns around, and Alfred is horrified. He realizes what has happened. Bruce Wayne is gone. But is he really gone? There is one thing that I've intentionally failed to mention up until now, which is that Batman does not stay a sad loner forever. The truth is that the real Bruce Wayne isn't dead. And there's one thing, one boy wonder if you will, who can bring him back. But I think that's the topic for the next video. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video, and thanks for all the support recently. It's honestly just been so crazy because I've just never experienced stuff like this before. But yeah, if you're new here, you want to go follow the Twitter and the Instagram. It's in the description. I can give you guys updates on the next video, and sometimes I retweet good looking burgers if you're into that. So yeah, go ahead and give that a follow, and I'll see you guys soon.